Hey everyone. We are back. Another week, another brand to break down. I have my partner in crime, Shreya. Shreya, say hi.
Hey everyone.
And as you would know from the name and announcements, this week we are bringing down Sophon. And I got a special guest from Sophon to help us out understand the journey much better. Please welcome Oscari, CMO at Sophon.
Thank you. Thank you. It's glad to be here and speak a little bit about the brand. I think that's been one of the main talking points around Sophon for quite some time. We put a lot of work into it. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Cool. Oscar, do you want to give an introduction of Sophon? I think most of the people who are watching this would know, already have clarity about it. But if you just want to tell them more about Sophon, what does that do? What's your role
Of
at it?
course.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll give you the high level before we start diving into branding stuff. Is at Sophon, we are laser focused on onboarding the next generation of crypto users. So operating within this vertical of consumer crypto and trying to expand this bubble that we operate in and make crypto like essential part of everyday lifestyle experiences. That's the high level mission. And more tactically, how we're aiming to do that is by really tapping into the data layer of the internet. Every single consumer online generates, thousands of dollars of valuable data a year, but they don't touch any part of that, and they don't even necessarily understand the value because it lays in these fragmented data monopolies across different experiences. So really our approach to it, which we're currently working on and building a product around, is kind of aggregated digital identity and how you can use that as an access pass and loyalty card across the internet. But we are also technically a blockchain, so building out an ecosystem of apps that also helps us like bootstrap this data vision.
Got
So
it.
yeah, that's so fun. And then you asked me about myself, and yeah, I lead marketing. We're about a 25-person team at the moment, so pretty small. Everyone's working on everything, but under my guidance is pretty much everything that publicly comes out, be they blog posts, social assets, any branding related stuff is under my guidance. We have like a 3-person marketing team at the moment, and I think we have very high quality standards, and I'm really proud of everything the team does. So happy to speak about how that branding comes to life.
Perfect. Let's get into it. I'll share my screen. The way this works is very simple. I'll just share the screen. We talk about things, you share your opinion. I note it down, and that way people can come back and learn more from it. I'm assuming you'll be able to see my Figma, and I can't see you all, so just give me some sound cues. Okay?
Yep, I can see it.
Perfect. Okay, let's start with the logo. Okay. And is that true that it's inspired?
That has to be from Aisha's tweet. No, not initially, definitely not. But I can see where she's coming from with that, and I do love the fact that you can play with our logo and take inspiration from different sorts of IRL sculptures and whatever you want to call them. But the story behind the logo, to give a little bit of color, is we've wanted to be relevant within the consumer crypto realm from day one. And if you think about consumer experiences, a lot comes down to building something that is culturally relevant. And in the modern age where everything is social first, content first, your brand needs to be very lifestyle oriented in a way. So the brand needs to be something that you can stamp on a t-shirt and it competes when you put it next to any other designer t-shirt. It needs to be one that you can put on a energy drink if you want, or like any other basic consumer product, in a way where it looks very cool and scalable and fits into the general internet and online culture. So starting from the lifestyle thinking is like one big part. It needs to be, it needs to apply to a lot of different use cases. I think the original designers, maybe just a caveat here when we're speaking, is that I have not designed the initial versions of these. I like overlook our marketing team. A lot of me here speaking about this is going to be me being the messenger of how these things have come to life. We've had incredibly talented people put this stuff together. But yeah, the initial thinking has been kind of two-parted. One was the lifestyle aspirations, consumer focus. And then the second part is just simplicity and what that logo itself communicates, right? So if you look at our socials, that logo also translates to something that's pretty easy to use as a tagline under social posts, where you have the parentheses and a plus sign in between it. Like we use that as like an ender for a lot of tweets. A lot of community members use it to end their tweets or respond to our tweets. It's kind of just a couple of parentheses and the plus sign in between it. And that was another thing that was like important with the logo. It needs to have some sort of identifier socially, where you don't need to just stamp it on assets, but you can also write it. A lot of brands go the route of an emoji, but for us, like I think you can just use normal typing parentheses plus sign in between.
Got it. So yeah, okay. So like here's my interpretation of when I saw the logo, right? And again, this is a assumption which I made when I went through everything, and I started noticing that a lot of the branding is around a sunny day. It's in a field out there, you're in the clouds and everything. So when I was looking at this logo, what I saw was like a sun and the rays around it. Like that's what I visualized when I saw this, and I was like, yeah, like even the placement, most of the graphics when we are using them, right? They're in the center or the top part of it, right? And that looks like, to me, that looks like a sun part of it. I was like, yeah, this could be a like. Also, I am not sure like where did the word sophon come from, like as meaning wise. What does
Yeah.
sophon mean?
I'll first touch on what you mentioned about like the sun and clouds, which is correct. The second part of the logo design, and I'll do a little bit of reading here from like one of our initial designers, is that it also has a meaning outside of just being easily applicable both via text and branding. But the plus sign there's like a lot of purpose behind it, right? Like a plus signifies addition, accumulation in a way, and then you have kind of this aura around it, which is more devotion and then just adding to the plus sign. So you have these like rays of addition. So it's a very optimistic, even spiritual type of messaging that we wanted to go with it, which is that, the logo signifies devotion and addition, and it's a symbol of infinite growth and spiritual guidance. So you seeing it kind of as a little bit of a sun rays, something happening in the sky, it's done on purpose in a way. It should feel in a way somewhat cult-like. It should have that feeling of aspiration, inspiration as well, where when we talk about accumulation and value, it's not just financial, but with Sophon, you should have like cultural value and belonging, which is why the colorways also lean more to this sort of heavenly feel, right?
Got that. I think yeah, like the plus part is actually unique. I was thinking like, is that has that have any blockchain or math wise seen in that? But now when you pointed out that it is more of like expanding the aura with addition and everything, that like this aura shape I was not able to see. And to be honest, I just thought this is, and I was gonna ask you like why this is the logo, but for me, I thought this is the logo. You just do like this and this.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, oh,
It's an easy identifier. Exactly.
oh, and I thought that might be some like there's some blockchain meaning behind it, math-wise, which I might not be aware, and you will help me out. But look, yeah, it's true. Like it's a math symbol. This could like you can design this logo even in a Nokia 90s phone, right? It could like
Exactly.
use anywhere. Got it. And
Yeah. And second question you asked was about the namesake, right? Like where Sophon comes from. So there's also two parts. One is the original, and the second is one that has kind of along the way also become a very core part of more, I'd say, video messaging of ours, and also built into the original vision. But very originally, if you are familiar with the Three Body Problem book series, Sophons are these tiny supercomputers the size of particles within these books, and they can see and listen undetected. That's kind of their core purpose. But they have this big flaw, which is that their creators, or sorry, they have this big flaw where they can't interpret information. They interpret information in a way where they cannot conceal secrets or info. So they see and observe everything, but they can't keep secrets. And then humans, of course, can keep secrets by just not communicating information, right? So when we think of the name behind Sophon, we're building on the ZK stack, which includes a lot of privacy and also how truths and secrets move and are verified. There was this nice metaphor there where the name Sophon made sense tied to our tech stack.
Okay, now that you point out, I see the reason of using this.
Yes.
Like even this now, I see the sense of using these pearls. I was thinking more of the pearls, and I was like, I'll ask maybe like the pearls is there because of this, but I get the sense now. I get the sense why this ops are here. Got it. Shah, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I was very confused about the, like the metallic objects as well. But then when I, looked up the word, just the word Sophon, right? The three body problem was what came up. And then I, read about that. And I think it's really cool that as a brand, you guys are really focusing on, the core focus is lifestyle and culture, right? And I think it's super, super cool that you guys are digging deep into like pop culture, like a really famous book series, and then name it so fun, and also the logo and the way that it translates. It's very like cult like. I don't know if you get what I mean, in the
Yeah.
sense that it's sort of like the guiding light in most of your visuals. That's something that I've noticed. And I love how it's so easily replicable, like you said, right? You just put like a couple of, like parentheses and just like an addition symbol in between. And, there you have it. Like it's super replicable. Lots of
Yeah.
logos that I think even Better Chain has the Apple bear and like a bunch of chains, right? It's just really
I mean,
easily replicable.
like I think I mean, Boundless also does an amazing job with the branding, and I feel like there's this non-tech branding, right? Which is like there's the dark colors, there's not that, and then you just have like here if you look at that the glass, and when I was looking at so for like if I see this billboard on my ways to somewhere, I will never think it's a tech company. I like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
this is something
Yeah.
like a lifestyle. As you said, like it's a lifestyle thing, and like so, like just for my viewers, like we also like try to explain like how they can do this, right? So as an example of like whenever people create, this is a brand story, right? For like the name, so phone has a brand story that it comes from three body problem, and you have clarity on your lore, right, or your story, like how you talk about it. So anyone who's building a brand similar or who's want to build their own brand story, how Sophon took it from like TV series or fiction, fantasy and fiction, right? You can also do that with these existing things that are there, right? Instead of just naming something and then trying to find it in technical things, you can
Yeah.
use space, universe, history, books, movies, mythology, nature, and find what you're building with an existing thing, and then you can create a brand lore around it. Well, I'm gonna add fiction in this because like that's I think should be here.
Hmm.
Yeah, perfect. Okay,
For
now
sure.
that we talk about the logo, right? I get the plus symbol, and I have actually not. I don't remember. Have you ever used this symbol in text, like just this mark on their tweet, or no? Never.
We have, yes, yeah. We use it quite a bit as like an ender. So when we tweet, the last line would be like three parentheses, then the
Yeah.
plus sign, and then three parentheses. So it's kind of an exaggerated version of just the logo.
I mean, this obviously that's like a this is like a math thing. I can do a lot of exploration in this. This is the
Exactly.
logo.
And yeah, you could play around with like, you could put emojis within the parentheses. Like some of our ecosystem projects replace the plus sign with something that's relevant for them. For example, like Mufo is this mini app where there's a bunch of cows flying in this like own cow universe. It's like a very fun idle game. And they kind of replace the plus sign with the milk emoji. So it's just
That's
milk
cool.
between the parentheses. So it's like directly Sophon aligned, but serves their own purpose as well. So it scales for that.
They're cool. I think I like the story of the logo, like how expandable it is. I think this is a really cool one. And now that you pointed out the word problem, and I think here I would love to know more about this specific part. And so, like every branding has a custom pattern or a visual style or a font or icons or texture style, right? In when I was going through like Instaphone when I was collecting these graphics, I noticed that this you don't have a specific fixed visual style. Like here you're using pixelated, here you're using this. I don't know, this is more of that glitch,
Mhm.
nostalgia, vintage kind of imagery. Then you have here a little bit more of that Japanese visuals, and then here is more faded and all that. But while your structure of like visual style is not fixed, but what you're gonna show in that picture is always fixed. I've always found these mountains, I've always found these
Yeah.
clouds or person, but like in this setting of like composition always. Like is that something which you have a fixed rule on, or how does that came to be?
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. And when you zoom out on the Figma board like you did, you see that everything put together still creates one clear mood board where you can like pull the brand elements out of. But when you zoom in, like you said, there's a lot of variance between the assets. I think that's partially the fact that design is very much dependent on who is creating the specific
Yeah.
asset in a way. Yes, you can scale stuff, but especially the way we do things, which is like very high effort assets. It's not just templates pulled out of something. There's some variance between who has created each piece, but also I think more importantly in this day and age, when we think of just the amount of output you need for content assets to be relevant in a consumer realm and online, I think a lot of people make a mistake of restricting too much of how you can play with a brand. My personal take is that you really should not restrict it and open it, like be very open to experimentation. There are certain forums where you want a very aligned way to communicate, where it's like every asset looks the same. But then again, like crypto Twitter for us, it's a playground for experimentation, and that's where the majority of content gets put out. And the further you scroll on our Twitter feed, you'll notice that what Sophon got very initially known for, which was like halfway through last year, in the early days around the node sale and stuff, was content was very unexpected. So I think the guiding principle was every time a video or so asset came out, the viewer would never have been able to expect that piece of content or piece of visuals. And even though we have standardized it a little bit now going forward because we do need to scale, I still wanted to have that element of when you have an asset, you see it, it feels like Sophon, but you can't necessarily you wouldn't know that it was coming because it can still have that element of unexpectedness.
So instead of like having fixed rule, feelings, you go like vibe. Like this,
Yeah,
the aura
it's
vibe feeling, like the
it's
keyword in that case.
it's way more vibe market, and I think my principle around that and why I'm willing to fight against a lot of more traditional branders who think around things having to be very aligned is that the way people consume and interact with content nowadays, the cycles are so much quicker on socials. You're going to have, a couple milliseconds of attention in front of people's eyes for a while. And you need to think of branding from that lens as well. So you need to have a lot of room for experimentation and try new stuff, try fresh stuff. Otherwise, you're just not going to stand out in the massive content.
I was gonna point out this in like I can also point out it here also, but like I can also do it in media, right? Like I have noticed that like very small thing, which is the way the font is used. Like I've noticed that here when you were like adding text here, the text was normal white font, right? Clean, simple. But then I saw a video where in this case, if you notice that this style of blur came as a video content piece, and that slowly also got into the images too. Like here, like while the font is solid, but a lot of graphics has these like something like this, like the blurred, a bit tighter spacing. So as I agree that like see, my thought process is also that brand is an evolving piece. Like it's like a human. How a human is not the same which was in 22, 25. Brand won't be the same. The personality and the morals remain same for every human, right? They update
Mhm.
based on that, but like someone who won't kill like if you can't make them right. There's a morals is there, right? In brand also, that same principle personalities should be there, but the way you represent that personality can always adapt based on the
Yep.
company audience. I said like even the team or the designers who's working, right? Like even this feels like so phone because this yellow color, that blur is like when as you said, it'll zoom out, it still feels like one part of one family or evolution. So I can still connect it to the last graphic which I saw, and I still see it. Now that you talked about the content pieces, right? Uh, I think Sophon is one of the first few companies in blockchain which double down on video content and not typical video content,
Yeah.
but the video content which I would normally see in a blogger's
Mhm.
YouTube channel or on Instagram, like reels, right? What is the
Yeah.
story behind that?
Yeah. So there's a few reasons for it. One is our consumer focus, as if we want to really build something that resonates with users, your typical online consumer, you should be creating content and reaching them where they are used to consuming content and learning about new things. And that is predominantly video based, short form video based platforms. Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts nowadays, they're just, those are the dominating places where you can have really strong touch points with consumers, and that is video. So you need to be video first. Another part is like my background is very much in video, and I know that it is just the strongest way to build community and relevance. There's also the fact that no one in crypto is doing it yet. Or actually, I think we've done a good job in kind of kickstarting that meta towards it. And then big shout out goes to Miggy as well. He really owned the role of being the face in front of the camera once he joined. Uh, and I think started this flywheel. A lot of people have started embracing human-led content, either team or founder-led content in a way which is just much more effective than trying to communicate with only cool visuals or sort of abstract concepts of technology or the vision. Just kind of show it. It's much more relatable. And then also, even before we started doing more video content with like people as the main persona in it, a lot of the branding, even our landing pages, it's human first, right? There's a person there.
Yeah.
Even though it looks like a little bit sci-fi, maybe some say it even looks creepy, it's still a person. And the whole idea behind it is we're trying to build a platform for the next generation of users. It's human first. Whatever we build is human first, not tech first. We do have cutting edge tech, but technology is not Sophon's unique selling proposition. We're not pushing it. In our messaging, we don't push it. It's humans. It's for the people. We're trying to build something better for the people. And who is better to push that message than people? So that's a guiding philosophy behind a lot of our video content as well.
No, I mean, so one of the concepts recently Bali talked about was founding creator. Like every team will now need a founding creator, right? And I think Miggy, for example, is yours. And one thing I've noticed, like this visual style, which is for let's say for Sophon, is also a visual style of Miggy. Like this is how he creates content. So like it's so natural to him, and I think the tone is set for Sophon, right? So I'm not sure how if someone else would come and which kind of content they'll create. But whenever I see like even idea wise also like the spa idea was really different, right? Like
Yeah.
in a way like very different in Dubai when I saw that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is more like a lifestyle brand than a tech brand. Because like a lot of people
Yeah.
would try to be creative with okay, how do we do zero knowledge? Do we like create an event around that? Do we find something around information or like puzzles? Right? But here it was more of a okay, relax. Let's be more human. Let's more chill, and
Yeah.
then double down on that and meet can create that. So that was really cool. Uh, Share, do you have any other questions on this?
Yeah, no, I think I was just thinking one of the very first times that I really looked into what Sophon actually was I think that event in Dubai, like the whole wellness setting. I mean, it's so cool that you have just like a bunch of people sitting uh, around the whole spa and wellness setting, and they're just shooting a podcast. You're still getting your content out. It doesn't have to be somewhere that's super lavish, like yachts or like a super fancy party. It's just something that's so like that's so calm and that's so serene and nice. Yet you have content being produced out of there. So I think that really sort of like set a tone for Sophon as a whole for like your content and all of that. And that's something that I associate with whenever I think of your brand, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's a really cool thing to do.
That's great to hear. I think the spa, the crypto detox in Dubai
Yeah.
was, from like a branding point of view, one of the milestones that really did kick off a lot of mind shares for Sophon. It was also aligned with when we started doing our Kaido campaign. So there are people like also had an incentive to kind of push that message. But the whole purpose of the event was to do experiential marketing. So it's like experience led. We don't do events. You don't see Sophon sponsoring event. We don't put our logo somewhere and just be like, hey, come drink a beer on us. We don't do that. And Dubai was something where we thought through it beforehand for a long time. It's like if we're going to do an event, it needs to be and feel like Sophon, curated, premium. It needs to be purpose driven and really be creator led as well, because content first. Everything needs to be content first. And I think we nailed it. So we had a good partner helping us make it happen, and then we had the balls to do it. So and the same thing we kind of did in Paris and Con. But yeah, these videos that you're watching, we didn't do even a live event. It was more like a pop-up merch shop thing, but very content led. Again, kind of just rethinking of, you could do the normal playbook of how you build brand, just buy some booths and logo placements and things. But I think that's just the wrong approach, and it's way too expensive compared to what I think people should be spending for these sort of activations in a more digital environment. So that's what we focus on.
I think
Yeah.
this has become now Sophon's brand, right? Like whenever I want to see like creative, as I said, like this feels like someone a content creator talking about something, not like a company, right? And like even the marketing here, like you're not directly talking to me about Sophon, right? You're not selling me Sophon, right? You're talking about the merch, was you're creating a buzz around the company, not
Yep.
the technical part of the product part, but just the brand. And I think like when you said that, okay, we wanna build a brand which is lifestyle, and lifestyle is that lifestyle is not selling a t-shirt. They are not selling, okay, here's the best fabric for t-shirt. They are giving this like you belong to this tribe. This is cool.
Yep.
This has aura that you gotta like be part of this culture. And I think Sophon in a way is around that. When I look at this, I just want I don't know if I'll ever use the product, but I want to wear Sophon clothes. I want to like align with this brand because it's just cool, it's fun.
Yep, exactly, and that's a pretty important starting point, which comes to the like cultural relevance that I'm talking about with consumer brands. It's you need to build cultural relevance and do it intentionally in a way. It's a lot of the leading consumer brands might have people who have never used a product, but they still vibe with the brand or might use a cap or T-shirt, like you said. And I think that's a pretty great success metric if you're able to get there.
Like
I think like it's
something.
very intentional the way like you're putting out content and just stuff. It's not like you said, it's not regular events, right? So I really like how it's the whole cycle of hey, let's make intentional content around who we actually want to reach out to. I think like a lot of the messaging is also find your users, go where your users actually are, right? So I
Yep.
think that the whole essence of the brand is really well captured in the sense of intentionality as a whole. So I think that's really nice too.
Okay, I'm gonna just like talk to the audience now, just for 5 minutes. I'm gonna show them something which I have noticed, and I feel like you guys have captured very nice. Right? Is that whenever we are seeing humans in this, they have this emotion of calmness or nirvana on their face,
Mhm.
right? So like brand, when I'm like even the graphics, the clouds are for that. Like I feel calmer when I'm around clouds. That scenery is in the sense about okay how calm I feel, and then these characters whenever they are like and you're showing face, are in that uh, that feeling, right? That trance kind of feeling and stage, right? Like even here, the person you are like, I know that the headphone is not like connected, right? But I don't care about that, right? I'm just seeing that this person is so calm with this phone, right? That the whole vibe is that when I'm going through this, I don't have to read, and then even like uh, 12 in that context, even the way the copies are it, right, on the website. One thing I noticed was that a copy is never in my face in the center, or there's not more than one paragraph, even on one single screen. So yeah, it's just like, okay, look at the images, feel the vibe, here's some context about it, let's move on.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And the calmness is the differentiator, right? Like that was the opportunity we saw in crypto and why I think consumer crypto as a category is also initially came to be is everything is so complex. Like track your track your stress levels when you open a meme coin trading app or in general try to move money from chain to chain or approve transactions or whatever. Like it's through the roof. Like it's an incredibly chaotic environment. Like crypto is so crazy. And I think our whole positioning wanted to be that we believe it could be a breath of fresh air. It should be as seamless as setting up a new iPhone and such. And the branding when you land on the page would be like you should get that feeling of hey, this is nice. I haven't felt this way in crypto before. Maybe I should explore deeper.
That's true. Almost like a dystopian
So,
calm, rather than like the
Yeah.
dystopian chaos that you have in like all other brands, where they go really like I don't know, gradient heavy and color heavy. I mean,
Yeah.
Sophon is color heavy too, in the sense that it's very saturated, but it still gives you like a really calm and oh hey, this is a really nice soft feeling. At least that's what I feel every time I go through Sophon's imagery and like material.
Yeah. And that's where the spa event came from as well. I mean, I'm sure you guys are drawing lines between them, but that was just like bringing to
Yeah.
real life this feeling.
no, but I think the as I said, elements, the clouds, the green mountains, the pastel color, all gives me that feeling. Or the elements which I like as humans, we go like if I want to take a break, I'll go to mountains and just be there. You are trying to digitize that with this whole vibe. So I think
Yeah.
another now another question I have. So like I think we got enough context about logo. I love the video branding part of it, and I see the whole vision on that. Here, like specific thing what I've noticed is that like when I was going through the website, I saw these materials here, right? And I worked on Blender, so I see this is like even the materials when you choose in Blenders, they are in this orb, right? They are in this circle which you have to choose from. And then I get the 3D body problem, the orbs, got context on that. but then it's not utilized that much in the branding itself. Like I see somewhere right here, like with graphics when you use your metallic somewhere, right? But on the website, when that orb thing is just in the hero, and then somewhere here and there, but metals are not utilized. Like was it a choice or was it not just developed and it didn't feel like that?
I think metals feel a little bit more crypto-y than the more pastel colors, and I think we generally use the more metallic colors when we speak about either our nodes, where we use those orbs, which are the more technical part of our blockchain's infrastructure. And when we speak about the token, we also had a metallic logo. Like we didn't want to do just a ticker. That you just showed earlier, which is like this 3D metallic logo. That is like our essentially token logo. We created that specifically before TGE, whereas we didn't just want to use the logo or ticker. We wanted to create a visual representation of the ticker in a way. So everything more crypto-y, we lean more towards metallic, and we feel that's like it's a conscious differentiator between the more user-facing and more maybe tech audience investor-facing messaging.
That's interesting. Like using textures to differentiate between audiences, really unique. Also, one more thing, I think. So for the audience, like we saw, like we had with Sophon, we talked about the visuals, we talked about the texture style you're using, we talked about the 3D and 2D stuff you're using, the humans that you're using. One thing I don't know how many of my users might have noticed this is this pattern. So this is where like it comes up very less, right? Like I might see this once in 10 posts somewhere like that, but using these minimal strokes or patterns. So here's one use of that. Then I noticed like here's the lines are utilized, and then you obviously use them for logos whenever you're using like your 3D little bit on that side of thing. But then I was going through these graphics. So here, if I notice, very subtle, right? They are there. The plus is still there. The pattern, the dots are still there. If I go here, you're using the pattern as a hero, but like in this case, also here it is that, right? Was it a visual style, or like is that a choice which you now have that I want to use plus as patterns, and then slowly, this is used more in the tech side of docs and all that?
I have to say that those details are more thanks to the fact that we've had really good designers who themselves just have the attention to detail, where they also understand the kind of strategy and how they can tie it into broader logo, Sophon feeling, and just input onto in a basic template some of those elements. So I can't take any credit for it. We're not intentionally doing it. It's more of like the individual designers who work on those, just they get it, and then we're fortunate to be in that position where it just works.
Got that. I think then I think we talk about video, we talk about the website. I think the one more thing which I want to talk about, and then I actually want to know like why is that there's a mascot?
Yeah.
I was very curious about that too.
What it was made for? Like,
so yeah, very initially, the mascot is something that we're debating a little bit. Like we have intentionally not tried to turn it into like a character that is present in everything Sophon related. In the very beginning, it was something that showed up in Sophon video assets as this faceless, nameless mirror, essentially. So it's like it fits into the aspirational and kind of if you know sort of vibe that Sophon content had, where this Chrome figure could become anything. It is nothing because it's just like this faceless nameless thing, but it could become anything. And at the same time, because it's like a mirror, it's Chrome, it kind of reflects yourself upon itself. It's like Sophon becomes what you create is a sort of tagline that we've used in some marketing, whereas it was meant to be just more this aspirational type of figure. But then, we really liked how it moved and how it fit with the broader Sophon brand. It had that more crypto-y metallic branding, and it's present in a lot of our video assets that are purely animated that Lucas on our team works on because they just look cool. But we are debating whether it makes sense for us to go into building out this more defined character universe and even trying to like create IP via figure. I'm leaning towards no, because I think there's like different opportunities that would work for us. But the thinking behind that was it's been more of an experiment that then has stuck with a lot of video assets.
yeah. So I mean, whenever I see this mascot, right, I'm getting reminded of these two things. So one is obviously Silver Surfer, right? The character still has face, but the whole metallic vibe,
Yeah.
like feels like to me like yeah, this is something similar, right? And the second one now that you pointed out, I also noticed, but like the Terminator in the second movie, right? The also the first movie, the Liquid Terminator, who could change the shape to anyone. And then
Yeah.
this is again, I think maybe just metallic texture talking is not, it doesn't have any sense on that. But to be honest, in my opinion, I would not keep the mascot because like people have this concept of that mascot needs to be a visual person, but it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be a visual persona of it. It could
Yeah.
also thought of something being everywhere. Right? Like for example, in if I have to make something for Sophon, a person standing in a field is Sophon for me. Like that's the Sophon mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could be
Well
in
said.
any. Sorry,
No, I like that a lot actually, and it's this is a good question because we've been thinking about this for quite some time, and it's kind of been put on mm, kind of holding off on it because it hasn't been seen as something high priority. But at the same time, we don't see any downside in using the asset more casually. But
right.
uh, yeah, where my head's been at, it's more of you should try to turn the logo into the mascot or identifier and just use the logo more creatively in certain ways, and that would feed into the more lifestyle side where the logo becomes kind of this cultural element. But also, I hadn't thought of that before, but just a person standing in a very straight, awkward position in the middle of the field actually is very Sophon. We've used it across a lot of assets, so
Yeah,
that's
everywhere.
another
Yeah,
great one.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
like, and that also opens up, as you said, right? Like the brand can evolve, the different texture, different visual styles you can use, and but that imagery becomes you. I think one thing. So we can borrow here from Mega. In Mega when you were working, I love that this was their brand.
Yeah,
Add bunny ear to anything, and it just becomes Mega. I
Mhm.
think for you also, like just add that orb as a head. So like another example of this mascot or like creating a brand element which can expand anywhere is that having a orb as a head, right? You
yeah,
have any character who has a round ball as a head is so fun. Like I
yep,
noticed that you use this here. Like we have this angel with this so round as a face, right? So this could go in any way. It will become an NFT collection. A lot of things like this.
yeah. That's true. That's true. I like that, and that's definitely something. And I'm gonna bring up in our next call with the marketing team and just talk about it because yeah, this is a frequent topic of discussion on what do we actually do with that mascot.
Oh, no, I think that's it. I think my questions are answered. A really good brand, and we have not covered the merch in it, but anyone who knows Sophon knows how crazy the merch is. Right? Like I think we did this jacket we saw here. Even the last video we were there, right? This is a jacket, right? The aura.
Yeah,
And by the way, was the I mean, obviously we had these keywords aura, res recently in the pop culture, right?
yeah.
But I obviously heard when you told me about the logo, but just for the audience, right? Why did aura became a part? Like you were like, okay, I want to use aura as a keyword which will connect with my brand.
Aura was all Miggy. Also, because when you start hiring younger people, they come with these words, and they actually know what they mean. But all credit for associating aura with Sophon goes to Miggy. From like a language level, we hadn't used that term beforehand. But then the cool thing, and probably one of the reasons why it actually has stuck, is it just works with our logo and just our what we're trying to do as well is a lot related to data and digital identity. All of that is essentially aura. If you think of what that word means. It is basically your being, the energy that you have that radiates off of you based on your
Yeah,
history and being.
I mean,
So
we
it
have
just makes
chi in
sense.
anime, so yeah, like we have chi in anime and aura here in the literary culture, but there's always this concept of every person having a energy around them. So that definitely
Yeah,
makes it more human also.
exactly.
Yeah, I think Sophon's landed at the right time of the word aura maxing when everyone seems to be using it. And there's this one brand that people can just use to
Yeah.
say, hey, you guys are aura maxing. I love it.
The craziest thing is that typically if someone is using the word aura and trying to brand themselves around it, it becomes very cringe. But
Yeah,
for whatever reason, for Sophon, it's
I
not.
know, I
It's good.
know. It just works.
I think it's more about the visuals, right? Like it aligns. Like you're so a lot of people who just saying aura are actually not like doubling down on it fully. They just maybe say it once or twice and then just be like, okay, I use it.
Yeah. I think I
Yeah.
lost you.
Yeah, I think it's his internet. Let me check. Um,
But yeah, it is. If you just say aura and don't back it up, then yeah, that's when it becomes cringe. It feels like you're just trying to
yeah,
piggyback off of the trend. Definitely. I think there's even a chain out there called Aura that has no like human facing content, which is
really.
weird to me.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's also the visuals that you put up like such sophisticated visuals and just like really nice put together ones that it doesn't become cringe, you know. It's I think he should be back up in a minute. The internet's probably an issue.
Yeah, he's like 10 kilometers away from where I am, and the internet's super choppy here for some reason all the time.
Ah, uh,
You can give him a minute.
yep.
What do you miss from the Sophon brand? What do you think is lacking?
I don't know. I don't know what's lacking, but I was wondering about the mascot too. Like,
Mhm.
I like the concept that you brought up that says, "Hey, we brought in that orb to sort of reflect and say, hey, that's you. Whoever's using it, whatever you make of it, is you."
Yeah.
But if you also see the other brand visuals, right, where you're using the human, it's often faceless. It doesn't really have a face in the sense
Yeah.
that I think some visuals have a person just from the back. Some just have the Sophon logo as sort of the head, which makes it very cult-like. And I think, very honestly, I would just roll with that because I like that better.
Yeah.
I think Rahul's calling. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think his internet just went away. He's currently at like a base fellowship somewhere.
Oh damn.
So
That's
yeah,
all
I
good.
think
I think we covered a lot of ground here already, so
we did
not to worry. It's
though.
time to hop off. Was there anything
Yeah.
else you wanted to talk about here, just one on one, or should we wrap it up?
No, I think that's pretty much covered. We covered most of it. Although I'm really excited to like see more content from you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And appreciate the input. Noted on the mascot part. I think that helps our consideration as well. So
Yeah.
thanks for those ideas.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was really nice talking to you. Thanks for your
Cool.
time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.